Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Bayou Mortgage Guy Podcast. Today, I have a very special guest. If you have worked with me or if I've done a loan for you in the past 3.5-ish years, you probably know who this is. It is my awesome, amazing processor slash assistant slash photographer slash whatever I ask her to do, she pretty much does because she's amazing. Danielle Ice. Thank you, Danielle, for
Hello.
coming on.
No problem. I'm on the clock, so I
Yeah,
gotta do it.
you are. I am paying you literally right now. So,
Yep,
so
literally.
yeah, you're earning that paycheck today. So, all right. So, for anyone that has not worked with us or has not met you before, tell everyone about yourself, about your life, where you're from, all that kind of good stuff.
Okay. Well, I am originally from West Virginia, grew up mainly in Nashville, Tennessee. My husband is military and your bestie, obviously. He brought us to Louisiana 5.5 years ago, I think. Good grief.
Sounds about
I've
right.
got two little babies that I'm obsessed with, Reagan and Ryan, and that's what I do. I'm a mom and a processor extraordinaire, and that's it all day, every day.
Among a bunch of other things, I will add
Um,
that, and you failed to mention that you are a professional photographer, like you do have an actual
I
photography degree. Apparently, that was a thing. They actually, maybe they still do photography stuff. I don't know.
well, the school I went to shut down, but it doesn't matter. I do still have that. But yeah, I
Yes,
did photography full time before I met you.
you do amazing job too. Like you've done most of anything that I look halfway professional in. So you do a great job. And I just said do. Sorry. Yep. So this is pretty much what we do. This is kind of like the conversations we have on a normal basis, where I basically make childish remarks and Danielle will make me feel like I'm special and laugh at their stupid jokes. Anyways,
Or
all
tell
right.
you,
Wait, what?
or tell you that you're stupid, whichever one comes out.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, yeah, it's the norm. All right, so I wanted to bring you on here for a few reasons. One, so everybody can know who you are and just kind of familiarize everyone that you are. While I'm here in Huntsville, you're kind of manning the Louisiana branch. I say manning, I mean personing. I don't know what the right word is these days.
Womaning,
So what is that?
womaning.
Womaning the branch. So you're womaning the branch while
Yep.
I am here in Huntsville. So wanted to get everybody just kind of get to know you and then just kind of know, about the loan process because we have a lot of first-time home buyers that are, entering the market, and especially now that the rates are starting to come down. So what advice would you give you? Because like I told you before we started on this call, like no one really listens to me, but for whatever reason, they tend to listen to you, I guess, because you're you and I'm me. But what advice would you give to like some first time home buyers that are about to enter the market, what they would need to get together in order to get ready to buy a house?
Well, as somebody who's bought four houses myself and now in the mortgage industry, and I've also bought three out of the four by myself with a POA with Casey gone.
Nice.
So I think my first piece of advice would be to contact a lender 100% because I think both the first couple of houses of ours, we jumped into a realtor and we were in over our heads right away. So I think that first call needs to be a lender and figure out where you are financially. If you're a little bit nervous about doing that, maybe start smaller, get your finances in order, figure out credit karma. We talk about credit karma a lot. It's not necessarily accurate as far as the number, but it's a good way to kind of figure out where you're at. So you don't have any surprises. People seem surprised all the time by their credit, and you shouldn't be surprised by your credit.
No.
So those would be my first two things. But I think that's where we come in. We're cool. We're down to earth. We're people you can just call and chat with. I don't think people realize you can call us and chat about issues or questions you have before you have to jump into an application.
Yeah.
We're here. You can chat with us and kind of ask us some questions and figure out where you need to be and what you need to do from there on.
Yeah, I will say this, like, yeah, we do, we are easy to talk to, and then also that we do wear many hats in this business. So, we become, financial advisors, we become
Yep.
grief counselors for, emotional distress.
Yes.
And then also you got to be a good listener in this business because people will tell you their life stories if you let them, and some people want to tell you their life stories, which is kind of cool. We kind of hear some different stories from time to time, whether we like it or not. So all right, cool. So obviously, we both kind of know about the loan business and what is entailed, but what are some of the common misconceptions of like the mortgage business? Like,
I think people get really surprised when we need things from them. Some people
mm,
get really surprised that we won't just sign away $300,000 without documentation.
no way.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
I that is probably one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, I
And we
mean
those
that
things.
one's that's the it for me. It's like, yes, I do need all the page. I mean, like I've made so many memes over the years about it. Yes, I need all the pages of your bank statements. It's not because I want to look at your transactions and see, if you're subscribing to OnlyFans, or if you have a really unhealthy chocolate addiction or something. I don't know. But like I don't want to look at it. I don't honestly, the only time I ever look at bank statements is when we're doing USDA loans and we have to like source deposits and stuff. For the most part, I
Yeah,
don't really look at it.
yeah.
So like
I
I
mean,
don't care. Like
unless we're just interested.
that's true. Sometimes you catch something and you're like, oh
Yeah,
snap. But no, for the most part, we're not looking at your bank statements. And the reason we need them is because the federal government basically tells us that that's what we need. We can't just cherry pick what pages of the bank statement we need. We just need them all.
yeah.
So yeah, it's just part of the process. So just be prepared, you guys, to give us all the pages of your bank statements, even if it's blank. Just saying. Um,
Which
but
I
no,
don't
dude. I mean,
necessarily understand that either, but it is a rule and we have to have it. So
yeah.
it just is what it is.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. All right. So we've gone over some of the common misconceptions, and I know, that those can be challenging from time to time. But what's your favorite part of the job? Like, I mean, other than working for me.
I told you I did put that on my list. I literally
Did you
was
really?
like,
I thought you
and
were
I wrote
kidding. I
it.
couldn't tell if you were kidding or not.
I swear, working with Ben, it's on there. I
That's
mean,
pretty awesome. I mean, there got to be
let's
something else. I mean, right?
let's be
No.
honest that mortgages aren't really that fun and exciting.
Uh-uh. Yeah.
Especially for someone like me who's more creative and in my background and my photography and all of those things, I'm a creative mind. So mortgages are not the most fun. So when you get to work with your best friend and have a lot of fun in the process, I think it's pretty cool. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty cool working with you too. But
I will say, and the biggest thing besides working with you is just helping families. That's what we do. It's not a transaction for us every time. It's people
yeah,
that we know half the time. It's people that we know through other people. We get to know them. I mean, most people we're working with at least 30 days, typically longer than that.
yeah,
Sometimes years for some that we've started
yes,
and
sometimes
then
years.
yes, and helped through like credit issues and things and gotten to the end. And we're just as happy for them as they are for a house to buy. So
Yeah.
it is fun. And then I love VA loans. That's where my like bread and butter is.
Well, I mean, your husband is active, Navy, so, and also my best friend. So yeah, I mean, I get
Yeah.
that. It makes total sense, and I do too. I love doing VA loans. It's nice to be able to help, veterans that have served our country and or are serving our country, because that's the ultimate sacrifice, dude. Giving up your life to serve, the United States of America, dude. That's what it's all about, America.
Yeah, I see that today.
So let's do some what kind of memories do you have? Like what kind of things do you like? Is there like a loan that sticks out in your mind like that we did that was like super rewarding or just memorable for any reason?
There's a few memorable ones.
Yeah, for
um,
probably not the right reasons.
some of them not the right reasons. I'll start with
Yeah.
the right reason. That was the one I did for my friend Danielle and Zane. The
Hmm.
one that they came to me because they knew me. They wanted to use me. I had them pre-approved. Then they decided to go somewhere else. It
Yeah.
happens and
Yep.
doesn't affect friendships. It just is what it is.
Yep.
And I said okay and just kept up with her. And then they got to closing and couldn't close. And she called me in tears
Yep.
asking to help. And you and I like dove in and we closed it in like 10 days from not being
Yeah.
able to close at all. They denied her at closing and then turning around and closing in within a couple of days. And she still talks about it. That was over a year ago and
Yeah.
they still talk about it and
I think
still
she sends this business here and there. Like she'll send, anybody
does.
that'll listen.
Anybody that'll listen to her, she gives them our name. And that's just, I think that's the one that meant the most to me because
Yeah.
especially since they left and then ended up coming back. You set
Yep.
someone free and if they love you, they'll come back.
That's where that old adage comes from. It's from the mortgage business. I
That
didn't know
is
that until just now.
exactly what it means.
And it's funny, like my most memorable one is a very similar story. It's actually before you were started working with me. It's about a year or so before you started working with me. And it was the same issue. Like it was a veteran. It was someone that was trying to go through, I won't name the name of the company, but it's one of the ones that are veteran friendly. They essentially dropped the ball and I got the loan. They said, hey, is there any way you can close this in 7 days? And that's literally as fast as you can close a loan,
Yeah.
7 days. And we got the file, we closed it in 7 days. Like it was legit the biggest, best loan that I've done just because, I closed a loan in 7 days. Not many people can say that.
Yeah.
So, and it was just being able to help another veteran family too. So,
Yeah.
it's just amazing.
Um,
All right.
I
Go ahead.
what about
What
the
you got?
bad one?
Oh, the bad ones. Do we want to talk about the bad
Yeah.
ones? I mean,
Well, we're not going to
wow.
name, but
Well,
it
yeah,
was
no, they got to remain nameless. We can't like
well
call
the
them
good
out.
ones, the bad
The
ones.
good ones you can. The bad ones not so
This
much.
the one I'm thinking of was not very long ago, and it was the lady that was like crazy mean.
Ooh, yes. BB.
She like
BB.
yes,
That's her initials.
yes, she was so mean. And eventually you were like, which this happens sometimes where you're like, I can't handle it anymore. I need you to
Yeah.
take over or I'm going to lose
Yep.
my, you know
Yeah.
what? So I took over and I remember like I was laying down on the couch in the front lobby, just listening to her just roll through punch
Yeah.
after punch after punch.
Yep. I remember that. I
That was a
also
fun one.
remember this particular loan where, yes, she was mean to us the entire time. And there was nothing we could do. It was like nothing we did or anything like that. It was just her, her demeanor. She was just on edge and she was very very vocal about her, distaste with anything in the world. And then I do remember after we closed, we got 3 dozen roses at the office. I think you got
That's
a
right.
dozen, I got a dozen, and
That's right.
who else helped us work on that? Because there was three. I remember there's 3 dozen roses,
Who
but I
was
don't
it?
remember
I
what
don't
the
know.
third dozen was for. Was that I don't know. Either way, we got roses at the end of it. So I mean, it. I would say it was almost worth it, but I'd be lying. It was definitely the roses were just they were just roses. We
Very
went through hell and high water to get them closed, and that's part of the business. And I remember there's a few that stick out to me too on that end. And one was I know it was a client that actually came by your house, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, that was an
Yep.
interesting one.
That one, she was wonderful. She was so
She was
kind
awesome.
and
Yeah.
so sweet. She was amazing. So I lived in Slidell, you lived and
Yeah.
we worked in Danville. She
Right.
lived and worked in Slidell. So it was easier for her to get to me
Yeah.
at
Yep.
my house. And I'm like,
Yep.
well, okay. So I made sure Casey was home. And because,
Yep.
you never know. But she was wonderful. But she brought documents directly to my house at
She
like
did.
9 p.m. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
decent hour either. So
Yeah.
we go above and beyond for
Yeah,
our
dude. This
clients.
is not, I mean, it's not very, this is not typical, but it's not atypical in the sense that this is the kind of stuff that we do deal with on a day-to-day basis. Now, it's not always someone coming to your house. I've had that happen to me too, but it's weird things like that happen that people don't know that we actually deal with on like a
Yeah.
day-to-day basis. Like we do deal with some crazy stuff, like because we do. I'll be honest with you, the loan officer, in a real estate transaction, the loan officer is basically say the quarterback, right? We're running the show as far as, getting somebody into their house, with the exception of people that buy houses in cash. So we're essentially dictating how the process, how long it's going to take, how long,
Yeah.
what kind of experience people have. So it's very important to us that we make sure that every client has a really good experience. Granted, it doesn't happen every time. No one's perfect, but we do strive to make sure that every client that we get and every referral that we get have an awesome experience and have good things to say once we close. So
Yeah.
your home buying experience is only going to be as good as your loan officer and your processor. Yeah, I threw that in there, right? And it's true
Yeah.
too, because like honestly, if it wasn't for Danielle, but if it wasn't for Danielle, I would probably not be as good as I am. Not probably, I would not be as good as I am.
I was
Or
gonna say what
as good as you
is there
make me look, I guess it's probably better than that. So you've been through 2020. You were starting me in 2020, and now here we are in 2024. So you've seen the good and you've seen the bad. What advice would you give to people that are, or that bought houses when it was times were good? And I'm kind of getting some of those repeat clients now. We're starting to see some of those where they bought now when the rates were in the 2s and 3s, and now they're like, wait, why is the rate 6%? They're kind of like, what advice would you give them?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. I don't think there's really ever a bad time to buy a house, in my opinion. You may pay higher interest right now, which really isn't that high if
No.
we really think through
Historically
it. Yes,
speaking, it's right on par.
exactly. Yes, 2020 was amazing. I have one of those low rates. I love it. I don't want to move, but at the same time, if you're in a different position, if you're renting, 6% is still better than renting and
Agreed.
throwing money away. So I do like that I feel like I see more younger people trying to buy homes, which is cool. Like
Yep.
younger than how old I was. I didn't buy my first home till I was
Yeah. Same. I was
30.
31,
And
32. Yeah.
I feel like people these days are much younger. They're in their like low 20s. They're freaking
Yeah.
babies, man. They're trying to
Yep.
buy houses, which is awesome because you're still building equity and even if you're afraid of 6%, you're still owning something. You're still putting money back into your family and back into yourself. So
Yep.
I know it's scary, but it wouldn't have been scary if 2020 and 2021 never happened.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I do think people are like shell shocked by 6%, but that's really it's gonna change. It always does.
Yep.
When it does, you have the option to refinance, which hit us up when that happens.
Hit us up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's my advice. If my advice is if you're renting and you have the means, buy a house. Even if it's a starter home, buy a house.
Yeah, that is essentially the same advice that I would give. Like if you have the means and you have the budget and you're comfortable with where your monthly payment is, you can always refinance. You're not going to be paying 7.5%. Not saying that's where the rates are, but there's people that we've closed on last year that were at 7.5%, and you're not going to be at that forever. Rates aren't going to be there forever. They're going to drop at some point. God knows when. Hopefully this year, we will see. But at that point, you're just, if you can afford it and you're good with that, then do it. Do it, because you're the only person that knows, like, if you're comfortable with whatever payment, that the house that you buy, if you can afford it, if you're comfortable with it. So definitely would agree with that. So
even with interest rates where they are, you're most likely going to pay less than you're paying for rent anyways.
More than likely, I would say, depending on your needs, yes, 100%. Like, it'll be similar. So
yeah.
Let's talk about like how you got into the mortgage business. People want to know that.
The people want to know.
The people want to know. It's just it's science.
Well, it fell in my lap, really. I mean, there's no other way to put that. So I'm a military wife, and as a military wife and a mom of a really young baby in Virginia Beach, working outside of my house was not an option. And I'd already been doing photography before that. So while Casey was deployed and in training, the first 5 or 6 years of our marriage and Reagan's life, I had to do something. You know me well enough to know I can't not be doing something. I'm not cut out for stay-at-home mom. I have to have my own thing. So I went back to school and got my photography degree. I owned a photography studio in Virginia Beach with a couple of my good photographer friends. And then I ran my business full time. One of my biggest things in my business was real estate. I worked with realtors and photographed houses. I was photographing 30 some houses a month. And I had Reagan attached to me in a carrier, and that's how I did it when Casey was gone all the time. So then when we moved here, our original plan was to be here for 3 years, and then we were going to have to go back to Virginia Beach. So when we moved here, I didn't want to like really dive in and build a client base for photography, because it's not just like mortgages. It's not overnight that I have a client base, which you're experiencing now in Alabama.
Yep.
But so I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to focus on getting out of here. Sorry.
Dang, bro.
I know, I'm sorry, but I only wanted to be here 3 years and then go. So in that story, I decided I would work for the hospitals. So I went into the hospitals and worked as a photographer for the newborn babies. And I did that full time, and I was managing like 15 photographers out of 7 hospitals, and I worked constantly, including Christmas Day, like 2 years in a row. And then COVID happened.
Yeah. Best thing that ever happened to you.
Honestly, it was because I am not a quitter, but I was not happy where I was. And I would have suffered through it for my family until the end of time. But COVID kicked me out of the hospitals. And I was jobless and raking in unemployment, just living my best life. and then Joe, our good friend Joe, because he said he's not going to give that extra unemployment anymore. So I'm like, well, crap, I guess I got to get a job. So my friend at the time, Summer, she knew you. So
that's right. That's how we knew each other, though, because
through Summer, I was looking around for jobs, and I knew I could do something like clerical type because of just who I am as a person. Right. Organized and put together and those kinds of things. I knew I could do that really well. And I'd asked her, I'd seen a job for someone else, and I'd asked her, do you think I could do this? Because she's in real estate. She was a realtor that we worked with. She's like, that would be perfect for you. So she called you and
She did?
asked you as her friend about this guy that I was gonna possibly work for.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You almost
Right?
skirted out for another person, another
Yes.
mortgage
And
professional.
then I was just kind of sitting around waiting because my kids were out of school. It was still summertime. Then you called Summer and said,
Yep.
"Is that chick still looking for a job? Because I need an assistant."
I don't say things like chick. That does no. Mm-mm.
Maybe not
That is
chick,
not
but
me.
you said something to that effect.
I would
And
probably
then,
say female because I'm very
okay,
politically correct.
and then is that politically correct anymore? I don't think
I
so.
don't know. I don't know anymore. I have no clue.
Summer said, "I think so." You
Yeah.
called me and we chatted for a little bit. And then you said, "Well, I do have one question." I will never forget this. I
I
do have
forgot. So
one question.
I'm like waiting. What is it? What did I ask you
I
for? I don't
know.
really remember.
Well, because my phone number is 312 area code.
Oh, that's right. Okay, now I know.
And
Yeah.
you said we talked for like 20 minutes and just about, stupid stuff. And then at the very end, you said, "I just have one question, and this will determine whether or not you could possibly actually work for me." I was like, "Oh, geez,
Yeah.
what?" He said, "Sox or Cubs?" And I was
Yep.
like, "Cubs." And he goes, "Oh, okay, good."
Yep.
And I did.
Yep. You did.
I
Well,
was
so you were my first interview out of 6. And yeah, I remember, I do remember that question, asking you that question. Because if you had said socks, I mean, I'll be honest, you probably still have got the job. I would have probably not, I would probably had to do it begrudgingly, but you would have still probably got the job. But yeah, you were the first. And then yeah, I remember like I called you last. I called all the other applicants and told
Yeah.
them that, thanks for applying, and then I called you last. I don't know, were you surprised? Because I don't remember if you were surprised or not. Were you surprised that you got the job?
No.
Confidence. That's another reason why I hired you, and very, very humble as well.
I knew I was the best. I didn't know who
Yeah,
else you were talking about, but I knew I was the best.
yeah,
I also
you did okay.
we clicked right off the bat.
We
Like
did, we did.
we were gonna be besties right off the bat, no question. So,
Yeah,
I knew I got it. But I was mad at you
and you
for
did.
making me wait forever to
Well,
like help me.
I had to wait till all the. I mean, I didn't make you wait long. It was like a week.
It was a long
I had to
time.
finish all my interviews, so that I was busy and doing interviews, and so yeah, whatever.
It was
Doesn't
July
matter.
2020. And then you said you gave me your rose.
That's true. I did. I was watching Bachelor at the time, or Bachelorette.
Yeah,
I don't remember which one it was.
one of the
Which
two.
one? Yeah. So you
I
got the
got your
final
final
rose.
rose.
You got it. And
Yeah.
the rest is history, guys. That's it. So that's how Danielle became a part of the team. So, but I do always end these with predictions. Now, I know you don't necessarily watch the market like a hawk like I do, but
I don't.
everybody wants to know, Danielle, what does Danielle Ice think is going to happen in 2024? Do we see rates dropping? Do we see the housing market boom? What's going to happen? Because we all want to know.
In 2024?
Yeah, like this year, like the one that started like 3 days ago.
Yeah, I mean, I have high hopes, I think.
You have high hopes, or you don't?
I do, but those hopes
Okay,
don't
that's good.
come to fruition until late 2024, around November-ish.
I don't follow.
Well,
I don't follow at all.
America has this little thing called an election year, and that is 2024.
Oh, right.
And
That's right. Yeah.
yeah, and I hope there will be a positive change come November 2024. And that is my
positive change.
yes.
I will read between the lines on that.
If anybody has me on social media, they already know what I'm saying, so I don't need to spell it out.
Yeah. That's true. You don't hide it.
I don't, but I'm hoping for some change because I'm fed up, and I know that a lot of Americans are fed up.
A lot of people are, yeah. Agreed.
And when we're talking about money and we're talking about how people having the means to buy a house. A lot of people don't right now, and that is.
Yeah.
I just hope there's change in 2024.
Yeah, no. So I'm with you, dude. So 2024 is going to be definitely a big year, one way or the other. I don't know which way it's going to be, but yeah, I think a lot of it will have to be determined by who is in the Oval Office. Like, it's not necessarily my opinion. Historical data shows that when a Republican is in office for the presidency, that mortgage rates are lower. It's just simple as that. Like, so hopefully we will see rates go lower regardless of who's in office, just because I think families need relief, need more buying power, need more just positive outlook on the economy, because it's just not very positive at the moment. So hopefully that's what will happen.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So if you want any more political advice, please don't ask us. But no, seriously, Danielle, you know, I always appreciate everything that you do. Thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us and sharing your stories. And for those of y'all that are in Louisiana and need somebody to hold your hand, like physically, Danielle, she's your girl.
I'm your girl. Yes.
So I will put all of your contact info in the comment section of the YouTube channel and then on the podcast site as well. So, all right. Well, that's it. That's all I got. Danielle, thanks again. Appreciate you as always. And we will see you guys next time. Make sure you like, subscribe, all the things. I'll put all that stuff in the comment section as well. Appreciate you guys. I'll talk to y'all later.
Bye.